Welcome to the Mind Games podcast. Today, we are joined by the host of the Playing and Simple podcast, a lifelong West Tigers fan and all-round great bloke, Lachie Pringle. Enjoy. Alrighty, Lachie Pringle, mate, welcome to the Mind Games podcast. How you doing?
Mate, I'm very good. Thanks for having me on, Mitch.
Mate,
it's good to be here.
Really appreciate this. Off the pine, but not quite off the pine. You just, in very last minute to save me, which I really appreciate that. But it's also very timely.
Thanks for making me feel special. We haven't had this teed up for weeks in the diary.
Oh, we have, absolutely.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
always on the whiteboard, but you just, you weren't necessarily.
We finally made it work, mate.
We did.
Back and forth, your people, my
How
people.
good's this doing it with another podcast that knows what he's doing? This is great. This is great. Mate, how are you?
Mate, I'm very well. We're very well recording this off the back of yesterday at time of recording at the at Pratton Park Bowling Club for the West Tigers Unite rally against the Holman Barnes group. It was actually a really good day and it was actually pretty positive, and I think everyone's still very fired up, but in less of like a angry march sense. I think in more of a, let's unite as fans and let the power brokers at the club know they can't get away with these sort of self-interested decisions anymore. And of course, all the classics were there. It was the who's who of West Tigers independent media. My man, Matty G, Shaq. Who else was there? Cody Totes from Hello Sport.
Hammy was there.
Hammy and Elliot from Win, Learn or Draw. It was great. It was good. And kudos to Darcy Byrne, Inner West Mayor, for making it happen. And he got up and gave a rousing speech, and we had great speakers who have been lifelong fans, and overall it was actually just a really good celebration of why we love the West Tigers. And I think you can forget why you love the West Tigers sometimes, but it was good. It was a good reminder of this club is worth fighting for, really.
Love it. Was there any ex-players or anything there?
Blocker Roach was there.
Was he? Actually, I did see that.
Blocker Roach was there. Obviously not a West Tigers legend, but a Balmain Tigers legend.
West Tigers fan, though.
West Tigers fan. He wants the best for the club. He's always...
Makes one person?
Oh, mate.
No, I mean,
Don't
one person
start.
involved in the club?
Well, he's not even involved in the club.
Yeah, true.
He's not even involved in the club, although Fox Sports would have you believe that he is.
Yeah.
The amount they go to him on any West Tigers issue.
Oh, that's gold. Well, we'll come back to that. Mate, we're here to talk about you to start with.
Oh, boy.
So tell us a little bit about Locky. So we kind of only really know each other just kind of through socials.
Yeah.
We're both good friends with Charlie.
Correct.
Charlie
White.
Shout out, the great man. As I said earlier, you're easily the best looking bloke from Triple M I've ever had on here.
I disagree, but go on.
Yeah.
I disagree. Charlie White's a good-looking rooster.
He is a great looking rooster. Mate, tell me a little bit about you. So producer at Triple M, obviously do some podcasting and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Locky.
Sure. Okay. So at Triple M, I work on the Lou and Jarch show and the Rush Hour. So Lou and Jarch, I'm sure that a lot of your listeners will be familiar with the We Mean Well podcast, Lou and Jarch, and I guess if like Hello Sport listeners, because they do a lot of stuff closely related to them.
Yeah.
So they came over to Triple M in June. I was like a workday announcer before that. I was just doing like shifts on air during the workday, back announcing Foo Fighters, AC/DC tracks, which was cruisy and fun. Every now and then give away fucking a bunch of money to people and stuff, just classic workday radio.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it was fun. But I was also ready for to work on a show, I think I was I'd been there for maybe 2.5 years, and I was a bit ready to, and I was letting my bosses know I want to work on a show. And it's tough because, new radio shows don't come up a whole lot.
Yeah.
So when Lou and Jarch came over...
So is it tough finding talent?
Sorry?
Is it tough finding talent for that?
In the radio world?
Yeah.
I don't think it's as tough as radio execs make it out to be.
Okay.
I think I'd much prefer, more opportunity for new voices on air. I think that's the direction that we have to go with radio, because anyone can start a podcast and that's sort of the future, So as a radio, or as in that industry, we have to not go backwards and try and protect what we know and just get the same 3 blokes on rotation hosting a brekkie show.
Yeah.
I think we need to find new talent. I think Lou and Jarch is a great example of that. I'm happy that Triple M is trying to appeal to a younger audience. But also they're so funny that they connect with the rusted on Triple M listener as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, they come to Triple M in June, And when I found out about it, I was like, this is sick. I never thought that I was going to work on the show though. But then my boss pulls me aside and like we have this meeting and she's like pretty big, exciting news about Lou and Jarch. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've been listening to their podcast for years. Like that's going to be awesome. Love it. And she was like, the show needs an anchor. And so an anchor is basically an on-air producer. So like you kind of you come back from songs, from ads, you set the tone. You're kind of just a third voice in the studio. You're bouncing off each other. Like obviously they're like the lead talent.
Yeah.
But I get to just be in there with them and be kind of the third guy. And that's kind of like I wanted to anchor a show. Like I know that I'm not at a point where I'd be like lead talent on a show, but I think I've got a good ability to bounce off people and get around a joke and keep the ship going.
Yeah.
And so she was like, show needs an anchor. And I just was like, I could have cried. And I was like, this is the best day of my life. Like this is awesome. So right now I'm working on that show. And then I also produce The Rush Hour, which comes on just after it, which is like the sports show. So I work with Anthony Maroon, Millie Elliott and Nathan Hindmarsh, which is such a dream crew. Like that's also, so it's just crazy. Like it's crazy to think from even the start of this year, you know, back announcing Philly songs, which was fun in its own right. But right now I'm like in a spot where I'm like, right, I just want to keep doing this forever, to be honest.
Awesome.
So that's radio world.
So with that, like how did you get into that world? Like was it always radio or was it?
Nah, it wasn't. I at school I was always like very into music and drama. Played a lot of sport, but like as far as like
you play?
Mate, I played every sport available to me growing up. I would switch every year. I started out doing rugby and cricket. And that's rugby union because I went to an all-boys private school.
What school did you go?
Cranbrook.
Nice.
In the eastern suburbs of Sydney. It's like one of the fucking, it's a bougie boys private school.
Yeah, it's so you've done it tough.
I've done it tough.
Done it in the mean streets.
I've done it tough. That's right. Well, when I first met Charlie, because we know a lot of the same people.
Don't worry,
like
Charlie and I had this same joke.
Yeah.
Much.
Well, no, but like, so he, this sounds so shit to say, but like he went to Rose Bay High and that's like a public school, which not a lot of public schools in the eastern suburbs. They're all fucking bougie private schools. And I was like, oh mate, and he was genuinely, he was like, yeah, mate, I did it tough. I was like, it's always a funny joke. He's always like, I'm like, mate, you're from the east as well. He's like, yeah, but mate, you went to Cranbrook. Yeah, and I'm like,
public school.
Fuck, you got me there. Anyway, yeah, it's a classic all boys private school. I played rugby union, cricket. Then I switched out of that. Did a couple years of soccer, where I was a goalkeeper one year and then a striker the next year.
Yeah, nice.
And then I did a year of basketball because I had this growth spurt. And our basketball,
about 7 foot tall.
Our basketball coach was like, mate, give basketball a go. You could be playing like firsts within a year. I played it and I was shit at it and I hated it. I was like, the height isn't helping unless I just genuinely just stand under the rim. Yeah. And then I did volleyball and then I was playing tennis sort of all throughout. So tennis is kind of like my main sport that I've always played. But everything else was switching around. I just wanted to give everything a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, at school, I was like, as far as like subjects and interests, like music and drama were big for me. And so out of school, I basically auditioned for a bunch of drama schools around the country. So NIDA, Whopper, there's VCA down in Melbourne, which is where I ended up getting into. So I moved down to Melbourne for 3 years, did like acting training, had an agent down there, was doing like TV commercials every now and then, bit of independent theatre, which was cool, like really awesome, really happy for the experience. But then like I moved back up to Sydney. COVID kind of came around. The industry changed drastically. It became like way less in-person auditions, much more self-tapes at home, getting someone to read for you, having to send in your tape, sending off an email and never hearing back from certain casting directors and not knowing why you missed out on a role, which really like kind of messed with me a bit mentally. And I was like, I don't know if this is like, I don't know. And it didn't feel like the industry was going to change out of COVID because I felt like they were just saving a lot of money. And I was like, I need to find something that's not like necessarily a backup, but something that I have equal amounts of like passion and talents in that I can put my talents towards. So I did a bit of student radio while I was at uni in Melbourne and like, I loved it. It was just like, you know, coming in, having fun. So alongside continuing to do some acting stuff, I volunteered at a community radio station in Sydney here, 2SER, which is down near UTS on Broadway. And I was producing a show there, and then the weekend arts show, like the guy that hosted that left, and so they needed someone to do that, and so I put my hand up for it, got that, was hosting that for a bit, and then used that to make a demo, like through different interviews that I did. Basically, I was just getting like my mates' bands and people on every weekend because it's just community radio.
Yeah.
But through the demo that I made, I ended up sending that off to Triple J. And then so I got my first radio gig at Triple J. And so I was doing like music shifts there. I was filling in on weekends, like doing all sorts of different. That was a really good training base.
Yeah.
And then I was at Triple J for 2 years. And an opportunity at Triple M just came up.
Just with Triple J, talk us through like when, like around Australia Day, talk us through like the rush of all that with the Hottest 100.
Yeah, mate, Hottest 100 is like Christmas at Triple J.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it all leads to that. Like and it's like the one day of the year that everyone's listening to the station.
What do the ratings do? Like, is it 100 times normal or?
Mate, I don't really know the numbers, but it's something like that.
Yeah, okay.
It's something like that. I know that is like Triple J. If you look at Triple J like across the calendar year, it's like January. It's like,
yeah, okay.
You know,
I'd be interested to know, like, from a business sense, like, what the, are you bringing in like additional, like high end sponsors for that month, or is it like, you're trying to get
Triple J's
long term?
Triple J's part of the ABC. There's no like commercial revenue or ads or anything. It's fully just like taxpayer funded. So you want to do well, you want to get the socials up and all that, but it's not for any kind of like commercial gain.
Yeah, wow.
It's a funny thing, like working at the ABC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so off to Triple M. The role came up.
Triple M. So that was start of 2023. A role came up to host like weekday arvos from 12 to 3 on air. So basically what I was doing right up until Lou and Jarch arrived. And honestly, I didn't think I thought I was like probably too young to be working at Triple M. I was like, they're probably not going to go for me. They probably want someone who's like got a lot more knowledge about like rock bands, and we're going to see them in the 80s and 90s and stuff. And I was born in 97. So I didn't think I think I was freshly 25 at that point. And so I was like sort of not really in the Triple M age demo.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I got it. But basically, I interviewed for the role, did a couple little demos, came back in a couple more times, and eventually they were like, we want to offer you the position. And that was like I was a big shock. I didn't think I was any chance. And so then all of a sudden, because at Triple J it was always sort of part-time, fill-in, casual the whole time. And all of a sudden now I had a full-time job working in radio. So that was like that was a massive dream come true moment as well. So it's just sort of like one thing has kind of led to another. Yeah. And I've always tried to like figure out what the next thing's going to be.
Yeah, it's cool. But like the more you're just taking on like different opportunities, and with that, like it opens up additional opportunities, right? The more things that you have a crack at.
The more people that you just have conversations with, the more that like everything's an opportunity. Like I'll try and say yes to everything. Like Absolutely. I think that's like the number one thing. Like I think eventually there are times where you've got to like take time for yourself, but I don't think I'm there yet. To be honest, I'm happy to keep.
Mate, love that.
Yeah.
Love that. The more you do, more opportunities come up. Talk to me through like, so you became the anchor on Lou and Jarch's show. Talk me through like, there's probably a little bit of imposter syndrome. There's probably a little bit of learning to trust your own voice.
100%.
Getting the confidence to actually have an opinion. And kind of just maybe anchor the show. Talk me through a little bit of that. Yeah.
Imposter syndrome, 100%. All of a sudden I'm now in the studio with these two guys that I feel like I know, but I've only listened on the podcast.
Yeah.
And they've an established duo. They've got a good camaraderie. They've got Willie, their producer, on the podcast.
Yeah,
they've got a good.
That's Tom Birmingham's brother.
Tom's
right?
brother. Yeah, Willie Birmingham. Yeah. Great man.
He's a good man. I had a few beers with him. Hello Sport Golf Day.
Yeah, nice.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, how good. Yeah, he's a great bloke. And but it's like, you know what I mean? Like they've got a rapport with each other. They've already got a rapport with like what it's like to have a third guy. Now I've got to try and come in, not to be Willie, but like to very much be myself, but also like pick my moments when to come in and honestly, kudos to Lou and Jarch. Like they both from the get-go were the best. Like just immediately made me feel welcome, made me feel like part of the team. By day 2 or 3, I felt like me and Jarch had been lifelong mates.
Yeah.
Like, so it's rare in media, particularly in radio, to find new talent that is also so funny and so humble and just so open. And like, yeah, so honestly, it could have been a lot harder if not for the people that they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it immediately by the end of the first week, I was like, nah, like I do belong here, and I'm making the show better by being here. I'm not just, it was, that's the feeling.
That's unreal. So what advice would you give someone who's trying to like pave their way into that and then having those issues of that imposter syndrome and different things?
Look, I think every situation's different. Like obviously I got lucky with those guys being who they are. But at the same time, I think it's just sort of, I think like the biggest thing is that no one's thinking about you as much as you are. No one's like, no one, even the shittest of people aren't going to be sitting there. You got to remember, it was their first day of radio too.
Yeah.
They're nervous as shit. They're looking at me as a guy that's worked in radio for 2.5 years going, shit, I hope we don't embarrass ourselves in front of him.
Yeah.
And even though they've got this big profile and everything, like you could see that. Like Jarch immediately like respected my opinion on radio-based things. Lou's the same. She's worked in radio before, but I think everyone's thinking about themselves. So yeah, if you can just remember that, it kind of just, it's almost just letting that wall down a little bit, I think is important.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Love it. Do you have many guests on the podcast on the show as well, or
we're less of a guest heavy show. Only really if it's like if A, they're sort of a big enough national name, and B, if we can make it work in a funny way.
Yeah.
So like, who have we had recently? I think, we had like Hamish Blake came on and he played like our quiz game with us. We had the boys from Swag on the Beat come on. And that was, they brought in their own sort of games and stuff there. We almost had Paul Kelly on the other day, and we were gonna write a business jingle with him. It was because we do this thing on the show where once a week we like a small businesses pitch to like have us write a business jingle for them, and then we perform it for them.
Yeah, I've seen the social clips.
Yeah, and then we give it to them and they can do what they want with it. They can use it for advertising. Like it's just like and that's hilariously fun. Like I love that. So yeah, what else do we have? The guys from The Castle came on because it was like some anniversary of the movie. So yeah, that's more the kind of guests that we've had on. Aussie icons love exclusively.
How good's that? Well, so my next question, and we'll get into like your obviously podcast career as well. How long have you been playing in Simple for?
Playing in Simple as it is now has been going for a couple years.
So do you think? Well, sorry to interrupt, but my question to that is: did having that sort of body of work behind you assist with getting the role and then excelling in the role?
Having playing in Simple behind me going into Triple M, or the other way around?
The fact that you were kind of doing an independent podcast and were getting reps in behind the mic, different things like that. Yeah. Even though it's a little bit irrelevant in terms of the content piece and what you're actually talking about. But like, do you think getting those reps in behind the mic, taking on that opportunity and showing that you can sort of hold your own behind a mic, do you think that helps, one, getting the role and then two, excelling in it?
100%. Yeah, I think everything crosses over. Yeah. Like nothing's its own island. And even if this wasn't like a microphone talking based medium, like obviously radio and podcasting, you can clearly see the blend there. But I think that like any life experience in anything like ends up lending itself to anything you do. Like I think that's why, like I go back to it. Like that's why I say yes to everything, because you never know when that moment's going to kind of click and you're like, oh shit, like I was doing this and that's ended up helping me here.
100%. Do you find you draw back on, like obviously you said you played a million sports and like you look at the crossover, you said yes to playing every sport.
That's it. Yeah.
Now you're saying yes to doing everything in business. Do you think that attitude's kind of filters through your whole life, or?
Definitely.
Like,
yeah. Definitely. Growing up, I played, I used to like play all different instruments as well. Like, I think it's just, I don't know. That's just who I am. I like the variety, and
I love it.
I want to get as much
the whole, I guess, idea of this podcast is kind of discussing the intersections between sport and business and like lessons we learnt when we were younger and different things coming through in sport that we now implement in business. And that's a great one that like you've kind of, I guess kind of implemented throughout your whole life, which is great. Is there any other lessons that you kind of find like within the radio world that you kind of going, oh, like that's something that, I might have picked up in a team sport, or like, we're playing a final in a sport game or something, and then you're like thinking, oh, I'm nervous, but then you're looking around and you're going, oh, they're nervous too, which is what like Lou and Jarch might be doing.
That's it. Yeah. It's hard off the top of the noggin. I feel like,
sorry.
No, that's all right. No, that's all right. Like, I feel like it's hard for me to kind of like put it into words sometimes, but I think it's very like it plays out almost organically. I don't know, like in everyday life, like especially
a lot of it is subconscious, I reckon.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I think like, in terms of the crossover with sport, like obviously, as I said, tennis was my main sport growing up, which is an individual sport. But then I also like would mix up a variety of different team sports growing up. I think like both have been important in my mindset of like knowing that I can do it myself and go it myself, and knowing that like if I'm facing adversity or whatever, that I can like turn it around and I don't need anyone else to help me. But then also like just knowing that you do have that team around you and they are always there. So even if you don't feel like you need them, like it's like using the tools around you and the people around you. Yeah. I don't know if that's confusing.
No, it makes sense. Definitely utilizing, like rising tide raises all ships kind of thing.
Yeah.
We touched on a little bit, but the Playing in Simple podcast. So your show that we both have in common. Our good friend Charlie White, again, the second best looking at bloke at Triple M, allows us both to utilize his studio. So thank you to Anthony, Jimmy, and Charlie for that.
Legends,
absolute legends.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so good. I tell you what, that's hot.
It is the lights. This is what happens when you're under the bright lights.
Sweating it up.
It is warm.
Sweating it up. Mate, the Playing in Simple podcast, talk to me about that. So obviously, as you film it in here as well.
We do.
You're a Tigers fan. Your co-host is a Manly fan.
Yep.
Talk us about the podcast.
Yeah, all good. So we probably started a version of the podcast about 4 years ago. It was called They Talk a Good Game, which we eventually decided was just too long and clunky of a title.
Yeah.
But that was like very much like just rugby league focused. And
what was it, a COVID thing, or was it just like, we think?
I guess it was a bit of a COVID thing. It was like mid 2021, so there was still COVID around.
Yep.
And
was it like, when starting it, was it like, we're yarning about watching the footy anyway, and we got a good opinion? Was it like,
it was about as classic as two blokes start a podcast ever will be. Like, I think we were at the pub and we were talking and we were like, fuck, people would love to listen to this. Which is just probably not true. But I think like, and I think that is like the version that was They Talk a Good Game was very insular. I don't think we were like thinking about what's actually interesting or what's breaking us differently from the mold. I think it was very much like footy analysis from two guys who haven't played NRL, you know what I mean? And like now, you can listen to so many podcasts or TV shows and hear from players that have their own shows. So there are avenues for that. And you'd probably rather listen to Denon Kemp or James Graham talk about that, or Matty Johns talk about that than me and Harvey. Yeah. So I think we took a little break from it for a bit in 23, and then we came back last year as Playing in Simple, like sort of a rebranded thing, sort of designed to be less about the players and more about the fans.
Yeah. Like
I think most of the guests that we've have on are fans themselves or work in sport, not necessarily players themselves. Like we've had one player on the potty the whole time, and that's Blake Austin so far, who honestly we spoke more about his like love of the game as a fan than we did about his career.
That's awesome.
I think that's sort of the angle that we're trying to go with right now. It's like the idea is that it's the podcast by the fans for the fans, featuring the fans. So it's less about it's less about going, this is what happened on the weekend, this is what we think of it, and more about like as a fan, what's that experience like?
Yeah.
Which I think has played honestly, with the stuff that's been going on at the Tigers this year, it's played perfectly into our hands.
Yeah. No, but it's great. Like,
and also Manly have also had their issues. It works out. Two like, you know, clubs that have their off-field issues, Tigers and Manly.
I haven't followed it that closely, but Mestrov, is he?
No. I think that was all rumours. I don't think Mestrov. Well, at the moment, we've got Sean Mealcamp as our interim CEO.
Yeah.
And Sean's a great bloke. I've worked with Sean just from some work I've done at the club. And he was the CEO of the Central Coast Mariners. Yep. He got them from a position where they were sort of down the bottom of the ladder, financially struggling, to like top of the ladder, financially strong. I think, and Sean's worked under Richo for the last 2 or 3 years. Like, I hope that he stays CEO for the Tigers, because I think it's like basically the ship is still moving in the same direction. I think he and Benji are on the same page. I think getting someone like Tony Mestrov in would be very disruptive. Yeah. And I just don't, getting in like an external CEO right now with the position the club is in, I think would just be bad news. No matter how competent Tony might be, but he also had his issues at Manly as well.
Played into the podcast. We'll come back to the Tigers. But so I actually really like what you sort of done there in terms of finding your own lane with the podcast too. Like similar sort of thing like with the start of this. So good mates with Justin Horro, play golf with him every weekend, and he had an opportunity with his podcast to do a couple of rugby league podcasts, and he rang me and I was like, mate, no one wants to hear me talk about rugby league. And he was like, mate, you chew my ear off every week about rugby league, like get on here and do it. And I was like, okay. So I did it. Then a couple of people were kind of like, oh, you should have a crack. And I'm like, no one's listening to me talk about rugby league, but I've worked in the sporting goods industry my whole career.
Yeah, right.
So kind of the stuff that I've done and a lot of the lessons I'm learning, like everything kind of intersects from junior sport and different things that I've played over the years, both team sports and individual sports like golf.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how this was birthed, to give you an idea.
Yeah, nice.
So similar sort of thing, I guess, similar sort of story.
You got to find your own lane, and I like the way that you're sort of approaching it from like the world of sport, you know, but then like how do we take lessons from that world, put them into life, put them into business? Absolutely. I think that's such a good avenue. Mate, and I can't think of another potty.
Like, I actually sent a message to one of my mates the other day when I was watching us absolutely towel up the Poms in the Ashes in cricket, by the way, not in rugby league.
Well, mate, it could have been either. Could have been either.
And I was just like, I was watching Travis Head go to town, and I literally messaged my mate and was like, I actually feel sorry for people who don't feel like the what was the word? Like the elation that I feel when I'm watching this. Like the fact that I can care so much about something that I'm not involved in is a feeling that like I don't think a lot of like people that don't watch sport, I'm like, how can you not love this? This is unbelievable. Yeah. So it's there's so many different things that has that crossover that I love. So but yeah, anyway, with the Playing in Simple podcast, so you mentioned there's 2 types of shows that you have. So there's the weekly show where you yarn about off-field
just like we just come in with like we each come in with just a list of stuff on our notes on our phone. We don't make a run sheet. Like we between segments.
Give me anxiety.
We break up the potty into segments. So like when like a chat has run its course, we just like pull back and we're like, sweet, that was good. All right. And I'm like, all right, I've got something for you. And it's like, sweet. And then we're like, the way we kind of like structure it is like the order that we do things generally is like how relevant to rugby league is it? And then the less relevant it is, the later it goes in the show. Yeah, so we'll always start with like NRL stuff, and then there'll be like cricket, maybe rugby union, maybe soccer, and then later on like maybe basketball. Neither of us know fucking shit about basketball, but I just ask my basketball mates. And then like F1 might get a run, or then like we bring in shit like discovering these weird sports from the other side of the country. Like I discovered this sport called tipong, which is like ping pong, but the ball like rolls under the net and you like hit. Anyway, so that sort of shit would go at the end of the podcast. It's like,
so keep listening if you want to hear more about it.
Listen to Playing in Simple to hear about tipong. And then can't even remember where the fuck we were. But then also like we'll like try and compete at sports ourselves. Like we got really around the Australian Finska Championships this year. Yeah. Which if you don't know what Finska is, it's like a wood throwing game from Finland, but it's gotten really big in like the inner west. It's like they play it in like parks and stuff.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah. And the Australian champs were on at Petersham Bowling Club, and we like went down as a team. We've got this thing on the podcast where all of our listeners and stuff are the Gazelles. Like that's like our sporting club of the potty. I'm wearing the hat for it right now. And like we were like getting all the Gazelles to come down and take on the Finskaroos, who were like Australia's national Finska team. So that was very fun. And we've had a couple of the Finskaroos on the potty as guests before as well.
So good.
But yeah, sorry, I feel like I keep sidetracking, but
No, that's great.
we've got the weekly potty that comes out every Wednesday.
And then you got Simply the Guest.
We've got Simply the Guest. So basically whenever we like manage to wrangle a guest to come on, or if there's someone that we just genuinely want to talk to, we'll just get them on, and that'll come out generally on a Monday.
So how do you, and we'll get to your latest guest, we'll get to that in a second, but how do you normally identify the guests and how does that normally work?
Oh, mate, I think it's just literally like, it's just who we're interested in talking to be honest. And I'll just hit them up if I've, either on Insta or if we know them personally, I'll just hit them up. And yeah, we'll just literally like what you did with me, just like want to come on the potty.
Yeah.
Like there's no rhyme or reason really. Like we try like, we had Michael
Don't
Chamis.
sell yourself short, mate. There's a big reason why I got you on.
we had Michael Chamis on the potty, and then we probably wouldn't look to get an NRL journo on for a little bit. And then we had like Hectic Fred on. We probably wouldn't look to get like another fan content creator on for a little bit after that one. Yeah. So we try and like mix up the opinions that we're getting. We also try to we try to make note of gender balance as well, which is tough in sport because obviously it's just a male predominated.
Mate, it is tough. I've my mum every week hitting me up going like, you need females on. I'm like,
it can be.
I've been trying to like, there's a few NRLW players have been trying to chat to get on, which will happen in the new year.
Yeah. Everyone just goes on holiday and stuff, or it can be tough.
Tough trying to identify a couple.
It can be tough, yeah. No, but it's good. Like I feel like there's some really great women working in rugby league and beyond. Like we had Marley Silver on the potty, who's a friend of mine, but we worked together at the ABC, and now she's killing it on TV at Channel 9. Yeah. Who else do we get on? Ella Kazma, the Manly fan who does the dance videos and stuff. Kat Haddad, who produces Guru's potty, and then. We most recently had my mum on the potty, who is Marina Go. So she was the West Tigers chairwoman for 5 years, from 2014 to 2019. So and particularly with everything going on, right? Like we've been trying to get her on for a while, but we just never quite made it work. But particularly with everything going on at the Tigers, it was just perfect timing to get her on because she went through all of this stuff.
Absolutely, and especially that period as well was. Well, I'm not going to say it was worse, but it definitely wasn't better through that period.
No, it was. I think there was a period where there was good stability, and that was sort of when the NRL. That was sort of when she first came onto the board, and kind of the reason why she came onto the board is because the NRL had to intervene because Balmain was losing money and could no longer put in their 50% share with Wests, and so the board was becoming majority West, which is fair enough. But with that became a very us versus them mentality, which I think is what happens every time the West Tigers board is left to its own devices, unfortunately. And so Mum, she was on the Netball Australia board at the time, had the sports governance background, but and like, she's a Tigers fan through and through, but was very much an independent director. So with no passionate ties to either Balmain or Wests, solely there to focus on what's best for the business. And so she joined the board along with two other independent directors. And I think for about 2 years, things were going great. On field, we were still, finishing ninth, and that's its own thing. But as far as the business, like we were starting to move into a profitable position. And so at that, the structure there was 3 independents. So Mum was one of those and she was the chair. And then there was 2 West representatives and 2 Balmain representatives, which I think was good because you had more independence than you had from either of the sides, but you also had equal representation from either side. And overall, the independents were still working in the best interests of the major shareholders, which was Holman Barnes Group, still is. But without that sort of passion where they think about themselves before they think about the members and the fans, which I think is what has happened recently. Holman Barnes didn't like the direction that the club was going with, we're told it's about the new jersey, which I find so petty, but knowing some of these guys it makes a bit of sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, they have this love for their West Magpies, and I can understand that. They have this love for a club that no longer exists in the NRL, that they probably realise never will exist again in the NRL, but they're holding on to some kind of dream. And I think, and they try and keep that Magpie spirit alive by doing shit like forcing the home jersey to be predominantly black, not allowing orange to be, or not like the current jersey, which I've got behind me, is just like, it's very like tiger themed. It's like tiger claws. It's jungle themed. It's the first time the club's properly lent into that Tigers thing. Yeah. Because I think they've been afraid of upsetting.
But you are the Tigers.
We're the Tigers, and we're Wests. Like, that's the thing. I think like no one, we are the Tigers. We have to, and anyone under 30 only knows the West Tigers. So it would be very confusing for kids to be like, hang on, but like, at one point when Mum was on the board, they were proposing that at games we should have a tiger mascot and a magpie mascot. And it was like, how confusing would that be for kids? Like going along to a game. It's like, is
there a magpie?
Like, I think it's so important to honour heritage, remember where we came from. At the West Tigers HQ, there's a whole wall that has the name of every player that's ever represented West Magpies, Balmain Tigers, or West Tigers. And I think that's so important. I think heritage jerseys are good, but at the end of the day, like, we are the West Tigers. That's the future. And I think that's what, and as I saw at the rally yesterday, that's like what the fans believe. And I just think that our owners need to realise that and work in the best interest of the fans, basically.
Yeah. With the rally, so talk me through how that started, how that came about.
It started, there was just a lot of genuine fan outrage from when it was announced Barry O'Farrell had been sacked and that the other independent directors had been sacked and that the board was going to go back to a structure of West and Balmain. So there was a lot of fan outrage, and then Darcy Byrne, who's the Inner West mayor, put out a strong statement basically immediately, being like 10:30 a.m. Saturday, whatever date it was, 13th of December, Pratton Park. We're gonna let Home and Barnes know they're not going to get away with this. And I think that we're in an age now where there are so many content creators. Stuff is so easily shareable over Instagram and whatever, that every Tigers creator was resharing stuff. It was like, it became a real like power to the people moment. NRL Fanatic, Matty G from Speak Free, Shaq, Hammy and more. Like, everyone, we were sharing stuff. The list goes on. I didn't know. I didn't know what the sort of turnout would be. I knew sort of that all the creators and stuff were going to be there.
Yeah.
And sure, people can be liking and commenting saying, we'll be there. But
so in a way, are you thinking potentially some people are there for the wrong reasons? Like, but before you got there, were you like a bit hesitant, thinking like there could be some people just there for
clout?
Yeah, for the Insta photo, the reel.
Even if they were, I don't think I've got an issue with that, because at the end of the day, it's publicity for the cause.
Yep.
And they still love the Tigers. I don't think anyone was there for those reasons anyway. I think it's just a bonus that came with it.
Yeah.
I think like something I've learned about the Tigers community, I'm sure it's the same for every fan community, and the creators that do well, they do well because they have genuine love for the club.
Yeah.
I think people can see through the bullshit from the get-go. If you're not genuinely passionate.
About before the podcast about someone we know.
You're brutal. You're brutal.
That's very true. But no. Sorry, I wasn't actually. That was a genuine question. That wasn't actually asking in terms of throwing shade at someone.
Oh, right.
Because there could potentially be, but a great way to answer it as well. Like, in terms of it's all publicity for the cause and different things.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
what was your take on Richo being let go?
Oh, look, and it's hard to really know whether Richo was let go or whether Richo genuinely did step away by his own choice. I definitely think Richo and Barry O'Farrell had a good, close working relationship, and that would have not sat right with Richo. What's annoying is that like Barry's back on the board now because the NRL basically went to Holman Barnes and were like, no, like, we're protecting the best interest of the fan. You have to reinstate your independent directors, which is just like so funny. And it's just it's so tigery. It's such a like, you know what I mean? I fucking hate.
1 step forward, 3 steps back.
Oh, like, and who has to answer for it? The fans in our group chats with our mates and stuff going, what's going on at the Tigers? it's hard to know whether Richo was actually just like put off by that, wanted out, whether he saw a potential payout that he could get from all of this. I think that's potentially part of it. But ultimately, Richo's done such a good job for the club. He's put us in such a good position. I think that as long as Sean Mielkamp stays CEO, I think the club's still heading in a great direction. And as long as Holman Barnes can stay out of its own way, then the club will continue to in 2026. But would I love Richo to be there still? Yeah, absolutely. I think he's such a strong personality. He's got sway with the NRL. You need someone like that. And Tigers have never had a CEO like that. We've always been, I don't know if the word is strong. We've not had those like bigger than the game figures. You know, Roosters have Nick Politis, Gus Gould at the Dogs. These figures that can go to Volandis and have a crack at him basically and make shit happen for their club. So I'm hoping that Sean will be that sort of guy. I know Richo was, so it's ultimately sad to see Richo go, to be honest.
Yeah. Fair. Do you think, what's your take on like the effect it might have with recruitment and then also potentially losing players?
I think that, and I think this is a big part of why they re-signed Benji Marshall straight away. Yeah. I think there was an element of backtracking and an element of like, shit, the fans aren't happy quickly. Like, let's make it happy, make him happy, because everyone loves Benji. You know, like
for that to happen and come out the next week, they must have offered Benji something he couldn't refuse.
Yeah, that's right. Because Benji would have been pretty fucking put off by it too.
Yeah,
like, Benji's not the sort of guy that's just going to hang around at a place where the ship's falling around him. You know, like he's
especially after all the good work that he's sort of done over the last.
That's right. But I'm ultimately like, and I feared that might happen. And I was like, fuck, please. Like if Benji goes now, the dominoes will fall. We'll lose Luai, we'll lose Bullard, we'll lose Appy. Our whole spine will be out the door because they are all, the May brothers, the Finus, they are all playing for him, which is like, it's great. It's the reason why they all came to the club. I think he's one of the best recruiting coaches in the game simply for the person he is. Yeah, it's not true. He's just got an aura, and the players that are all coming through now in their 20s grew up watching Benji Marshall. Yeah. And a lot of them were Tigers fans growing up because of that. Like Luai's talked about it, Appy's talked about it. Yeah. So I think I'm just glad that Benji signed on. I think as long as he's there, at least in our football department, there is stability, and the players won't, you know, obviously we'll still lose players here and there, but I think as long as he's there, I feel a lot better. If he goes, I actually don't know. If he had gone right now, I actually don't know where I'd be at, like with this club.
That was probably my next question. Like with new franchises coming in, with like obviously the Dolphins have recently come in, but then obviously there's Perth coming forward. There's PNG. From a staunch Tigers fan, what do you sort of words of advice you have for the rest of the fans that like potentially might be thinking this is too much of a shit show, this is too much, how do I I'm gonna change it up? I was
heartened by yesterday at the rally. I was like, it was good to see that the fans aren't giving up. I think like Tigers fans are a different breed. Like it's fucking, we are to still be selling such a big fan of the club and selling out our home games. Like there's a loyalty there. Like every Tigers fan you meet is like such a lovely, nice person because they haven't like, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're not, no one there is a glory supporter. You know what I mean? Like they're all such genuine people. You know, I'm sure a lot have dropped off along the way, but the ones that are still there, like fuck, they're good people.
There's a lot of scar tissue.
Yeah, that's it. I just think the West Tigers can be such, I've said this on Playing It Simple, like I think the West Tigers can be such a great club if we would just let ourselves be. Yeah. Like I think we've actually got the ingredients to be a fucking phenomenal club. We need both. Like this is the thing, like this whole West Balmain thing, I would never want to see either of those clubs back as a sole unit in the NRL because like Campbelltown, the Macarthur region is where we are getting our juniors from. It's the catchment. It's one of the fastest growing catchments in the NRL in Australia. If we use that to our advantage, we could create something Penrith-like as far as the juniors coming out of there. But at the moment, so many of those juniors go to either Penrith or Canberra or Bulldogs. It's just, if we can make that work, we'll have something. But then at the same time, I believe the heart of West Tigers still is on the hill at Leichhardt Oval.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing like it. It's 95% West Tigers fans. It's like the crowd goes, it's like so loud. It's the best.
It's a scary place as an opposition fan.
I would never want to give up either of those.
Yep.
You know, we need Campbelltown, we need Leichhardt. I would love to stop playing home games at Parramatta for a start, but at the moment, Leichhardt and Campbelltown aren't up to scratch corporate wise, and we need the revenue and the dollars. So I understand playing at a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that once Leichhardt's refurbished, I hope that Campbelltown gets a similar makeover. I hope that we can go back to playing 50-50 at either. And I would always want to play 50-50 at either. People say you need one home ground. I think that's kind of the beauty of what sets the Tigers apart. And both grounds have a great hill. We're just a hill people. You can say that. I was saying to all the Tigers fans yesterday on the way out. I was like, I'll see you on the hills, you know?
Yeah.
On either of them.
Yeah. Love it.
It's, yeah. So, yeah, I just think we need both.
Cool. What's your prediction for the season? Where the Tigers come?
Can I say eighth? Eighth? Top eight.
I'll give you eighth.
Top eight.
8 in the eighth wonder.
Top eight. Anywhere from fifth to eighth. In fact, I'll say anywhere from fifth to ninth because we do love ninth. I'll actually be stoked with ninth, to be honest. But if the Tigers made the top eight, we'd be celebrating like we won the grand final. It would be ridiculous. It would be a laughing stock for some of the other fans in the NRL, but fuck, I don't give a fuck. Like, we'd be stoked.
I'm cheering for him. And this is because he's the West Tigers. Who is the greatest West Tigers player of all time, in your opinion?
I mean, it's got to be Benji. It's got to be Benji Marshall, and especially for like the impact he's had in his off field as well. I feel like if this player had stayed with us for a longer period of time, I think Scott Prince would have been like one of the greats. He captained us and was the halfback for the 05 premiership. I was devastated when he went to the Titans. Yeah. And I was only, 9 when he went to the Titans. And it was the first time that like one of my favourite players left the club. And I didn't understand how the salary cap worked or even that he was a Queenslander and wanted to go home. Yeah. And was probably offered a huge deal because they were a new club coming in, had an open book. Yeah. So I was like, why would Scott Prince go to the Titans? And I was literally in my head, I was like, he was my favorite player. I was like, do I have to become a Titans fan now? Like, I almost became a Titans fan. Yeah. Thank fuck I didn't do that. But like, and I mean, to be fair, their recent on-field results have been probably overall better than the Tigers. You know, we've copped 3 wooden spoons, but still, I love everything the Tigers are about. I don't think, it would be hard to see myself supporting another club. So I'm glad that I didn't make the switch to the Titans. But I have a lot of love for Scott Prince, Brett Hodgson as well, Benji Marshall, that trio in 05. Fuck, it was something else.
Is there a player currently playing for the Tigers you think can overtake Benji?
Good question.
And obviously not Locky Galvin.
Well, mate, I don't think Locky Galvin could even if he was at the Tigers. Well, I think like Latu Fainu could be anything. He's a player that could be anything. Luai's probably joined us a bit too late in his career to have that impact solely as a West Tigers player. I think he'll always be remembered for the premierships that he brought to Penrith, and that's sweet. I think like that's his mission complete, and he's on side missions now, and we'll happily let him try and do that with us because we need that. Like, he's the fucking character that we needed at that club.
Mate, you don't have to sell him to me. I love Jerome Luai.
Oh, he's the best. And I was a bit sad. I was stoked that we were getting him, but it's sad to break up that Luai-Cleary combo at Penrith because that's just such an iconic halves combo. And, you know, I'm happy to admit that Luai will always be remembered for his premierships at Penrith, but I'm glad that he's the sort of man that wants to take on a challenge like the Tigers, you know? Like, it's a club that you can ruin your career by going to the Tigers. It's a possibility, but he's got enough conviction in himself and enough belief in himself that he sees, I think he sees a premiership at the Tigers. I think he genuinely believes that and sees that.
Which is why he got to where he is.
Mate, you got to have delusional optimism.
Absolutely.
I think that sort of character played a role big time in the Panthers premierships.
100%.
First year he's not there. First time the Panthers didn't win.
Maybe it was him.
Mate, well, I think he's such a character in the sheds and everything.
CEO, Chief Energy Officer.
He is.
Maybe the Tigers should employ him as a CEO then.
That's it. I'd take him over Tony Mestrov. But also, like, yeah, players like Taruva, like getting in players from winning cultures like Penrith and like the May
Taylor
brothers.
May,
yeah, Taylor and May. You know, that's what we need at the club. There's a reason why Penrith have been the powerhouse they are, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's go. You know, players, unfortunately, with the salary cap, are going to each year have to leave Penrith. It's not happening this year, so that's good for you guys. That's going to be I think Penrith.
Who wins the comp this year?
Mate, probably Penrith, if I'm honest.
Love
Like
that.
I think second year with these guys, Blaze Talangi has come such a long way in
Casey McLean.
These young guys, you're not losing anyone. There's no disruption. I think Broncos, to me, and it's the way that Madge coaches, I think he just fires up a team for a year and then it's tough to sustain that.
Yep.
Panthers come into next year. Ivan is still, in my opinion, maybe apart from Bellamy, the greatest coach currently coaching in the game.
I'm biased, but I believe he's the best. Ivan's my idol. I love Ivan.
I think Craig got him just covered. Anyway.
I'm biased.
Well, I love Ivan. I loved Ivan at the Tigers as well. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Well, even like his ability, I've said this before, but his ability to coach halves. The year he coached the Tigers, Luke Brooks won halfback of the year.
I know.
Like he's...
Mate, people talk about 4 premierships at the Panthers as an amazing feat. Ivan got the 2018 West Tigers to 9th.
I know.
Have you seen that team? It's a fucking
But not only
horrible
that,
team on paper.
like,
and our team on paper now is way better.
Yeah.
And we're copping 13th.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking phenomenal coach, and he's smart, but he's understated.
But he's the halves whisperer. Like, look at he debuted Sean Johnson, and James Maloney got a rookie Sean Johnson to the grand final.
Yeah, that's it.
He's fathered, in my opinion, the greatest halfback there's been.
Exactly.
He's brought through Jerome Luai.
Agree.
He coached James Maloney late in his career as well. He got Luke Brooks to Dalium half of the year. He's got like Jack Cogger, Sean O'Sullivan. I'm forgetting who the other one was, but there's a few others that have come like in, and that's how they've had like their best year of their career when they were the backup to Nathan.
Yeah.
So even like Tyrone May and different things have come through as halves and done really well. So
he's made a lot of young halves a lot of money.
He has.
You know what I mean? Like Matt Burton, they all come through on the apprenticeship and sign big money deals. Which is a shame for Penrith, but fuck, he's got a good record book.
He does.
I can't remember what I was saying about Ivan, but where are we? Basically, he's the kind of character. He's the kind of character that I think can sustain success, and there won't be the pressure of the 5-peat this year.
Well, I think that interview at the end, that press conference at the end of the season, like he looked like he was like, let's start preseason tomorrow. Like, he was
fired up,
ready to go.
He wanted that 5th one.
He's
yeah,
like, what's over?
Yeah,
so
I reckon honestly,
it'll be so cold if we win that competition.
I'm trying to think of like who Roosters. I think have overshot their hand getting like DCE and they're trying to do a Cooper Cronk thing. I hope that it doesn't work for them because I don't like the idea you can just buy a premiership.
Yeah.
So Roosters are probably maybe I reckon could be Penrith Roosters grand final though. Broncos I think will drop off a little bit, not too much. They've still got a great team. Storm are always in there, but they lose Pappenhausen. There's talks of players.
Eli Katoa too.
Eli Katoa, what a fucking tragedy.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
There's talks of players, talking to Perth, so there's a few futures that are unclear there. Hard to say. I don't know if Craig Bellamy will win another premiership, to be honest.
Love that.
Well, he's probably only going to coach for a year or two more.
You know what's crazy? Harry Grant still hasn't won a comp.
Which is so sad because he was stuck at the
wild
he was at the Tigers in 2020.
Great.
Tigers great.
Speaking of the greatest player that played for the West Tigers.
Harry Grant, James Tedesco, Mitch Moses. What else we got? The Fox. Yeah, true. The Fox.
Mate, really appreciate this. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
3 quick questions before
Let's do it.
What are you telling 16-year-old self walks through the door? What are you telling Locky?
Oh, smoke less weed. No, I'm joking.
Charlie.
16-year-old self.
For anyone who doesn't get that reference, go watch the Charlie White
episode. 16-year-old self. What would I be telling him? I don't know. I think honestly, I'd play it a bit Ivan. I wouldn't tell him too much. I'd only tell him what he needs to hear. I'd honestly, I'm happy with where I am in life. I'd be like, keep doing what you're doing, kid. Like, it's going to work out. It's going well. Keep being the person you are. Keep saying yes to shit. Don't stop being who you are, basically.
Love it. It's a deep question. It's hard to answer, but that's great. Well done. What is your go-to cheat meal?
My go-to cheat meal, just whatever fast food is closest to me. KFC, Macca's, Porto. Not necessarily a cheat meal either. Just
just Monday.
Yeah, just Monday. Domino's. I don't know. Probably like a zinger burger from KFC.
Yeah, sick.
So good when it's going down, but so bad once it's down.
The biggest keenness to regret ratio. Last question. Do you play any golf?
I actually don't. No, I'm not much of a golfer.
All right. Well, I'll frame it a little bit differently. Normally, it's your dream golf foursome. So you and three others.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
So
I can answer that.
Yeah. So
who do I want to hang out with for a day?
Anyone dead or alive. Your dream. So 3 people.
Okay.
You can't say me. I'm carrying the bag.
Damn, I was going to say you, Mitch. But
most people do.
I was going to. So me and 3 others.
Yeah.
I'm not going to choose any professional golfers because I am trash at golf, so I don't want to be shown up. And
they're
also,
dead or alive too. Anyone.
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This is an interesting one. Oh, who would I go? You got 3 picks. Oh, I'll put Benji in there.
Love that.
Just yarn all day, Tigers stuff, etc.
He's a stick too. He's a good golfer.
He's actually going to show me up if we're on a team or whatever.
Yeah, it's Ambrose.
Yeah, it's Ambrose. So I'll go with Benji, and then ooh, shit. This is a good question. Mate, who would I do? Fuck, maybe. I don't know why this name is coming to my head, but I kind of want Owen Wilson to be there.
Love it.
He's like fucking, I love Owen Wilson.
Yeah,
he's actually like one of my favorite actors because he just plays himself. He's like Matthew McConaughey, but less Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
You know, but they both just play themselves. But yeah.
Love it.
And then we'll get Matthew McConaughey there. I'll go Benji, Owen Wilson, and Matthew McConaughey.
That's iconic.
That's like, I just want to see Owen Wilson and Matthew McConaughey have a conversation. They're so similar, but Matthew McConaughey has that charm that gets him nominated for Oscars. Whereas Owen Wilson's like,
there's a bent nose.
He's a straight to DVD comedy film kind of guy. But I love both of them. I don't know why I've gone for those 2, but fuck it.
Mate,
it's what came to my mind.
Super grateful for this. Locky Pringle, everybody. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Mitch.